Enter the world, but tread with care. Those roots remember every prayer. Carved from ash, from bone, from flame. The sacred beasts don't play your game. Here change comes, swift on silver wing, with dragonflies that bite and sting. Truth flickers soft and sharp as steel, and every wound must learn to heal. Don't come armed with hollow lore. This world won't let you fake the war. For those who think they understand, you'll bleed the fastest by your hand. So read and ache, be torn apart. These stories rise from broken hearts. With grit and teeth they scream and soar. You've never known a world like this before. More nothing burgers, but I'm starting to understand why people think girls shouldn't go to college. What's up, everybody? Some Gamer Gremlin is here, and we are back again with a reacting to Gore World video. Now, I know normally my reacting to Gore World videos are RachelLynn. Sometimes Chantal. I've only done one on her, and honestly, it was kind of boring, so I was just like, whatever. Amber is more often the more entertaining, but she's been quite boring lately. But I'm not gonna lie. This whole drama with Rachel, yes, I'd heard about the whole paying Emily for receipts, about how terrible of a person Amber is. We already know how terrible of a person she is. What the hell, cat? So, I mean, to me, that was honestly a nothing burger. Like, fine, whatever. You want to play around in the poo, play around in the poo. I don't care. That is on you, boo-boo. You do you. But this whole thing with, like, the Discord leaks and then her admitting to flirting a bit with Emily. Yeah, I didn't hear that from anybody else because I've been off in my own little world doing video game stuff. Just chilling with video games. I need to get back to my live streams, but that is besides the point. The first time I heard of that was actually on one of Amber's live streams because I've been paying attention to those. So I'm sitting there like, what the fuck are you talking about, girl? And then I see a video by this Ymir person. I'll show you. But and then I'm like, oh. Amber wasn't lying that Discord things got leaked. Yeah, that's how bad Amber's integrity, or whatever the word is, I can't think of it right now for some reason. Credibility, yes, credibility. That is how bad her credibility is. So when I hear something about drama from her first, my instant reaction is like, nah, that's not real. And then I hear about it from somewhere else. And then Rachel dropped her video, and I've already watched through it. I've watched a few reactions to it. We're getting into my reaction to this now. And this does not make Rachel look good at all. Not at all. I mean, this right here, I took this screenshot when I made this comment. Woman, this does not make you look good. You offered Emily money and then tried to say that paying your debt to her is worse than going back on your word. You also said that it felt wrong to give any money to Beck, on top of saying that you wouldn't benefit from donating Emily's paycheck to charity. Tax write-offs are a financial benefit on top of the money you would be keeping for yourself. How about this solution? Deduct the taxes, pay Emily what you owe, and then give the rest to Beck. Honor your word, because right now it's worthless. When I screenshotted this, because I wasn't sure if Rachel would keep the video up, I actually have a recording of this video on my computer in case she did not keep it up. But she did keep it up. When I took this screenshot, she was at 57.1k subscribers. Her dislike ratio was at 4.8k to 2.4k likes. And this was, I took this before I went to work.
Hi everyone. Welcome.
You shush. Now, I unsubscribed. She's at 5.3K and 56.6K subscribers. She is hemorrhaging subscribers right now. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that this is there. I'm also kind of surprised that I've got 7 likes, but no notification about the likes, which is a little odd. Normally I get, as you can see, I get notifications when someone likes or replies to what I'm talking about. So, I mean, that it is a little odd that I didn't get notifications on that, but I am, she's got a little bit more credibility since she didn't delete my thing. But I do stand by this. I think that if she wants to try and rebuild her credibility, she needs to take no monetary gain from her videos that she did for Emily at all. She needs to pay Emily what she promised her she would pay her. I don't care about when the promise was made or anything like that. Y'all, I might have to check that out. But I honestly don't care. Like, I don't care that she offered money to Emily for those receipts. What I care about is the fact that she suddenly decided, no, I don't want to pay you. It feels wrong. And she even goes into this where she's talking about how she didn't want it to get back to Amber and all that kind of stuff. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let's get into this reaction. We are doing it with the Oracle cards. I'm bringing out the Oracle cards. We're bringing out the dragons. So at the end, there will be an Oracle poem for you guys. So definitely stick around for that. And let's get into this.
Welcome back. So today in this video, we are going to talk about everything. We're going to get it all out and everyone will know exactly what's happened and what's gone on. So here we go. The first thing I need to do is just mention my previous video, which was a glitter and lasers reaction. When I filmed that, all of
Nobody gives a shit about your glitter and whatever reaction.
This stuff that's happened over the
I didn't even watch it.
last 24 hours-ish hadn't happened yet. So that's why I didn't address it in that video. And I absolutely acknowledge that it was quite tone deaf to post that video and then not say anything because it looked like I was trying to move along and not address the stuff, which is not what's happening. So I'm sorry to all of my audience who saw that video and was like, what the fuck, why are you not addressing this? That's what happened there, but I am addressing it now. So here we go. So my goal in this video is to basically just tell you everything I can possibly tell you, get it all out so you know exactly what there is to know, and then you can think about it and talk about it amongst yourselves in your communities and such, and everybody will know what happened, because that's the goal, right? So the first thing I'm going to cover is the deleted video. I'm going to just touch on this for 2 seconds. Basically, I got a privacy strike, which I suspect was from Emily, on this video here.
Nobody cares. We really don't care.
Here, which was my first ever Girl World video. There's pictures of Colleen, who is Amberlynn Reed's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, not sure, Emily, her deceased fiance, Colleen. There's pictures of her in that video. So that video got privacy striked. I think it was by Emily. I missed the emails because I'm a twat, and basically YouTube took that video down. So that's where it went.
You're not a twat for missing emails. You're a twat for so many other reasons.
I'm currently arguing with an AI person, or fuck knows who I'm arguing with, in my email about that video and trying to get it back up again. But for everybody who noticed, that's where that video went. I don't check my Gmail because I'm stupid. I just went in my YouTube studio and saw the notification and was like, what the fuck? So that's the notification. I'm pointing because I think I'm going to put it there. So just so everybody knows, that's where that video went. I did not personally take that video down, and I'm trying to get it back up. So just so everybody knows. Okay, the next thing we need to talk about is the Discord. So we've had loads and loads of messages and people talking about this Discord. So it's absolutely true. There was a private Discord, which consisted of a few people, and all of us trusted each other very well, and we were friends, and we were all talking about Girl World related stuff. There was all kinds of stuff.
Okay, and
in that Discord, some very interesting, juicy tea, which still hasn't come out yet. just to be clear. So for everyone who's been wondering, I did not share everything I got at all. And some of that stuff went in that Discord. That Discord was a place where we chatted like mates. I'm sure you've all got mates. You run your mouth with your mates in a way that you wouldn't do on your public YouTube channel. But of course,
you know what I don't do with my mates? When someone uplifts me and promotes me and all of that stuff, I don't sit there and go, they have a shitty voice.
it got out and everything that you guys have seen has been seen. So of course, as you guys all know, because you've all seen, somebody who was in that Discord has no fucking backbone, didn't want to tell me that they disagreed with my takes, and instead screenshotted a load of the Discord and sent those screenshots out. They then sent all of those screenshots to someone who then shared some of that stuff. That person did not blur the face and name of some of the individuals in those screenshots who are not public figures, which
I'm gonna bring out your journal next.
I'm really angry about, because some of those people have all kinds of personal...
You're not angry about someone's name not getting blurred out for shit talking people that have nothing really to do with Girl World other than reacting to it. You're not angry about that. You're angry because you're getting backlash for being an idiot.
Stuff going on in their lives. They don't want their faces and names to be made public, and yet they were. It takes 2 seconds to blur somebody's face in a screenshot. So I think that's really fucking poor, to be honest, if I'm being honest about it. But anyway, that's, you know, whatever, that happened. So the screenshots got out. The person who shared the screenshots, it will get out who that person was. And you will all be very surprised. I think I was very surprised, provided that I'm right about who I think it is, which I think I am, but obviously I won't say anything until I'm sure. But basically, that Discord was a bunch of people who I thought of as friends, mates, fellow creators, who would chat and like spitball and bounce ideas off each other. A lot of sarcasm and stupidity was said in that chat. I am going to cover all that stuff. This is not me like sweeping it under the rug and saying a lot of stuff was said. I'm going to talk about what I said. Of course, we all...
Yeah, but you're sitting here rambling about things that people don't really give a shit about. That is kind of shoving things under the rug. Because you're rambling, so people are probably going to get to this point and go, yeah, no, I don't feel like listening to this bitch.
Knew there was a chance that it might end up being made public. Nobody thought that that would actually happen, but it did happen. So here we are. So this is the timeline of what happened, and then we'll talk a little bit about the plan for this video. So this person who was in the Discord sent a bunch of screenshots from the Discord to somebody else. That person then started tweeting those screenshots and putting them into their own Discord. So that's how that all got out. Then Geordie went live last night, and I haven't actually watched this live stream, by the way. I'm filming this on the morning of Monday, whatever it is, Monday the... can't see the date, 3rd of November. I haven't watched Amber's live, I haven't watched Geordie's live, but Geordie went live.
If you want to know, I'm recording this on 11/4 at 9:57 p.m.
I've shared this clip, okay? So Geordie shared that clip, then Amber went live, and Amber said a whole bunch of stuff. I've been given like a TLD.
I think that is the live that I'm sitting there like, wait, this shit can't be real. Because I haven't been really paying that close of attention to Girl World lately. I've been doing my own thing, like finally getting back into editing book 6 of my Sacred Beast books. Y'all should totally check them out. They are awesome. So that's what I've been doing. Because I want to get that, I want to have that out to you guys by fucking January. Might be February. There's some things I need to throw in there. But I am getting off track because she keeps getting off track. She keeps talking about things that none of us really give a shit about. So, girl, get to the fucking point and apologize for being a bellend.
Of what happened in both of those live streams, but I haven't watched either of them yet, so I really don't know what was said, but I'm not at that bit yet. So for now, we're going to talk about the Discord and all the stuff you guys want me to address, and then the like Geordie Amber stuff can come in another video or a bit later. But just so you know, So far, anyway, that's kind of the context of what happened. One of the main things I need to address is the money. So a bunch of screenshots were shared, and it's me being very fucking cocky about how much money I've made doing Girl World content. Hey guys, I turned this video around pretty quickly, so
we'll just go ahead and read through these. So, Jawbone, at Rachel, I'm not suggesting you watch it as it's pointless, but Jordy has said that you offering to pay in exchange for tea is not a big deal and isn't sure what the fuss is about. So that should clear the air a bit for you. Fair play to him. She rambles on about that guy for a minute. Love that from Jordy is what she comments on that. Jawbone goes back to, so you're not really being publicly hanged, drawn, and quartered. Diva, rest easy. Rachel, if Jordy says it's all right, then I'm off the hook. Tee-hee. I'll wipe my tears with banknotes. Okay, so this joke that she did is in poor taste. She also rambles about how, oh, none of this was about Beck. Bitch, nobody is saying that it was about Beck. You are pulling at a straw. You're straw manning this to try to deflect from the fact that you made a poor joke. Nobody was saying you were referencing Beck. Nothing like that. Now, her offering to pay Emily in exchange for tea, that really is a nothing burger to me. The ankle was going and basically saying, bitch, I will pay for that BPD rage meltdown video. I will pay Emily for that. Like, but he was being honest. He was being transparent on that. He's just like, I will pay for this video and post it. He was being honest. The thing is, what people are pissed off at Rachel about isn't the fact that she was going to pay Emily. It was the fact that she was going to pay Emily, plus she didn't want anybody to know that she was going to pay Emily. That is the difference between what Ankle has said and what Rachel was going to do. Now, Rachel also keeps going on and on and on about when the deal was made and when it was changed, all of that. That doesn't matter, Rachel. You made a deal with Emily that you would pay her half of the AdSense, and then you decided to go back on that deal because you didn't want people to know that you were going to pay her. Well, that cat's out of the bag. And all you're proving is that you have no real integrity. Even though you keep talking about how, like, oh, I'm trying to protect my integrity. I'm trying to protect my integrity. Bitch, we would have more, we would trust your word more if you had gone, yes, I paid Emily for the tea. I paid her for her story. Well, I mean, she's essentially giving you her domestic violence story. We are all adults here. We're all adults here. She gave you that story to platform on your... She gave you that story so you could platform it on your platform. And you're calling it tea. We all know that Amber is a piece of shit. We don't need Emily's story to tell us that. But having more evidence towards that fact is nice. Especially if you're paying attention to the girl world. Now, I would like to give you this analogy. If you've been following my channel, you know I write. I mean, I have... Don't forget to check out my books on Amazon. Link in the description at the top of this video. Say I decide to hire someone for marketing, but me personally, I don't have the money to hire someone for that. And I'm talking to someone that go, well, we can do it on, like, I can show you what I can do. And then I make an agreement. Okay, show me what you can do. And next month's royalties, half of that I will pay to you as payment for your work for marketing my book, right? Well, say after I make that agreement, they go through, get my marketing up, and I get a ton of books sold. ton of books. And later I find out that they donated to white supremacists, like a white supremacist organization that focuses on getting black people to get abortions. That is two things that I cannot abide by. I think abortion is a barbaric practice that any sane society does not condone. And racism's bad, okay? Like, if you're racist towards white people, if you're racist towards black people, if you're racist towards Indians, whatever, it's all not good. Judging someone based on their aesthetics, not a good thing. Though the septum piercing thing seems to be a real life, like, good indicator of a person. It's scary. But if I were to go back on my word to pay them half of that month's royalties when I promised and I made that deal with them, that's a negative reflection on me. But I can pay them what I owe them and then make it extremely clear to them afterwards that because of their viewpoints and how they and some of the donations that they have made in the past, I do not feel comfortable continuing the partnership and I can cut ties with them. That would show you that I keep my word and I keep my morals. It's like, okay, yeah, I paid them, but I honored my word. Rachel going back on what she promised Emily is her breaking her word. And we'll get to it. The next part, we will get to that.
You might get some editing Rachel bits here and there, and particularly when it comes to showing receipts, because I'm just going to chuck my own voice in over the top. So one of the main things that people have had a problem with is me making this joke about wiping my tears with banknotes. In a minute you'll see I go into a bit more detail about it, but this is it here. So you can see Jawbone, who is a public person, is in the Discord, and he says something about how he's watching Geordie, and Geordie is saying he thinks me offering to pay for receipts is a nothing burger, basically. And then you can see I post a meme of Dave, who is my absolute favourite rapper. New album's amazing.
Nobody gives a shit.
By the way. Anyway, and then I say, love that from Geordie. And then Jawbone says, so you're not really being publicly hung, drawn and quartered. Rest easy, basically. And I say, if Geordie says it's all right, then I'm off the hook. I'll wipe my tears with banknotes. So that is what I said about that. That's the context of all of that. Obviously, from this one screenshot, it's not immediately clear, but the vibe that Jawbone and I have, I don't know if you guys have seen any of Jawbone's content, but he's a joker. He says things tongue-in-cheek to take the piss, and that is how I spoke back to him in this Discord. Of course, I felt I was among friends. So when I made that comment, I was not talking about Beck. Beck was not relevant to the conversation. People are trying to make it sound like somebody said to me, oh, are you going to give the money to Beck? And I said, oh no, I'd rather wipe my tears with banknotes or some sort of bullshit. That is not what happened. The part of the conversation that was relating to
Nobody fucking said that, you dumb bitch.
Beck was over an hour prior, which I'm going to show you in a second, and this banknote comment had absolutely nothing to do with Beck. I was talking about Geordie, who is also somebody who takes Girl World lightly and makes lots of jokes, particularly about being paid lots of money by his viewers on their birthday and things like that. So the context around...
Geordie makes jokes about making money on Girl World, but he also doesn't sit here and make them like this.
Me saying this line was completely nothing to do with Beck. I understand the timing of it comes across as extremely insensitive because about an hour prior I was deciding what to do with the money, but in a second I'll show you that screenshot and it will make a lot more sense as well, because you'll see that I say at the end of that screenshot, I'll think about it, which I did then go on to do, and obviously I changed my mind. I'll explain a bit more about the Beck stuff and the money in a second. I just really wanted to nip this like vicious lie in the bud that when I made this joke about wiping my tears with banknotes, it had absolutely nothing to do with Beck, whose situation I empathise with.
Nobody said it had anything to do with Beck.
so very seriously. They're going through something really shitty, and it's just fundamentally untrue that this comment from me had anything to do with Beck in any way.
You sound just like Amber.
Of course, the screenshots were shared with no context, which doesn't help because they were like grabs of wider conversations. I mean, we would talk like all day about a certain thing, so one screenshot of one section of a conversation doesn't really help anyone to kind of understand.
Are you going to give the context? No? Then shut up about it!
Where people were coming from, and there's lots of little lines in various messages that people are obsessing over, but they don't know what was said prior, which got the person to say that. So the context is missing. No girl world content creator who pulls any number of views is only doing it for the love. People don't sit in their office and edit for like hours and hours and hours a day for just for fun. They do it to make money. And every content creator,
I don't make money from this at all. My channel is not monetized. I barely make money on my books. Actually, last month, October, I had a lot more sales than I normally do. And I think that was just because I did a lot of like free book promotions or whatever. But I didn't even really make money from that because they were free book promotions. I spend hours and hours editing my books, and I do that for me because it's actually kind of fun. I do this when I have something to say.
ask them if they're honest about it, they'll say, yeah, I'm doing this to make money. One of the reasons
No, I'm not gonna lie, if I started making money doing this shit, I would definitely be okay with that.
Anyway, is that they're doing it to make money. Now, and it's absolutely true that is one of the reasons I make these videos. The person who revealed all of this stuff themselves also said the same thing. When they revealed these screenshots, said, it's going to be a good November for me. So that person also does it for the money and was super excited to get all of these screenshots because it meant that they would make a lot of profit in November, which is exactly what I did when I got all of those screenshots from Emily. So just to point that out, the difference is that I absolutely ran my mouth in the Discord and was like, oh yeah, I've made loads of money talking about this. Now, I'm not ashamed of the fact that I've made profit. I don't think anyone should be ashamed of that. I'm genuinely not.
Nobody gives a shit that you made profit off of those monies. What everybody is annoyed about is that you promised to pay Emily, you didn't want anybody to know that you promised to pay Emily, and then you went back on your word. Your word means nothing now.
Because, you know, anybody who puts hours and hours and hours into something, I think, is perfectly fine and well within their rights to be pleased that they're being paid for their work. What's not...
Nobody is mad when people are pleased for being paid for their work. If I suddenly sold like 800 books in 1 month, I would be pleased as punch. Trust me, you have no idea how excited I would be for that. Especially if I started getting good book reviews on those. I would be very excited because that would tell me like, hey, all my work is paying off. But nobody gives a crap that you are pleased that you made a ton of money. What we care about is that you made a promise, you went back on your promise, and now you're talking about random ass bullshit to try to deflect from the fact that you are a dishonorable bitch.
All right, that's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
Fine is me saying a bunch of stuff like, oh, I'm going to wipe my tears with banknotes. The context of that conversation and all of those conversations were I was getting so much shit for offering Emily money to get tea or receipts out of her, and everybody was really, really mad at me. I was trying to make myself feel better about the situation, and I completely admit and accept it doesn't look good at all, and it's true. So I can't say anything.
Bitch, this video does not make you look good.
thing about that. I absolutely said some very unfunny, uncouth jokes about how much profit I had made from this. That's what I said. That's why I said it. In the Discord, I discussed with people when this all happened. I think it's the 23rd of October. You can see a screenshot where I am saying,
Hecticana, so are you going to give the money to Beck? The comments were pretty overwhelmingly in favor of that. I am actually perfectly okay with her giving her half of the money to Beck and then paying Emily what she's owed. That is the only way I will consider that she is even remotely trying to prove that she has some integrity left. Rachel, I don't think so, to be honest. Feels wrong, I can't explain why, but I can see how it's a huge fuck you to both of them. So I can see the appeal. I might do a poll and then blame it on that, I don't know. But the poll would be Beck, so I've got time to think on it. If I do charity, I can write it off and on my taxes. Ha ha. I think that's the best, to be honest. Rachel, it feels cleaner. I didn't understand why people even suggested it until I reread the statement a second time. But both from the accounts and moral point of view, I think a charity with a registered charity number is best. I don't know why. Yeah, I lean this way also, but there is something satisfying and petty about giving it to Beck. Haha, I'll think about it. We don't need any more context for this. This basically shows that Rachel's audience wants Beck to have the money because Beck is in dire situation right now. Like, I don't think she would even really care that it was money made off of Emily's story. To me personally, I think the only solution that is morally correct is if Rachel pays Emily what she's owed and then gives the rest to Beck. That is the only option or path or whatever you want to say. That is the only thing I can see for any sort of redemption for Rachel. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that if she's going to make a deal with the devil, she'll at least honor it. And that is worth more to me than, oh, well, Emily is a death feeder. I don't give a shit. She made a fucking deal with her to pay her half of the AdSense, and now she's going back on it. And I think it's because of how much money she's making from that video. Or those videos, because she did 2 of them so far. I think it's because of how much money she is making from both of those videos. She doesn't want to pay Emily that money because she's like, if it was like a couple hundred, I don't think she would have cared. But it's over 1,000. And I think that is what she cares about. She's like, oh, I don't want to give that much money to her. I think that is the real issue.
Giving the money to Beck doesn't feel right. I'm not sure what to do about it. If I give it to a charity, I can write it off on my taxes. And it's absolutely true. I did say that stuff. So when I made my community post, all those top comments were people saying, give the money to Beck, give the money to Beck. And I was like, that feels icky, because if I'm taking money that I got by sharing somebody else's DV story and then I give it to Beck, that just felt strange to me. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'm not going to fucking lie about that. At first, this is on the 23rd of October when I was having this conversation, I was like, is
deflection. That is all that this is. And you're the one sitting here like, oh, I've got a philosophy. Whatever. Bitch, I got a culinary degree and I can call your bullshit on this. This is just pure deflection.
Beck even going to want that money? Is that going to make Beck feel uncomfortable? Do I actually want to give money from one ex to a different ex? It all just felt a bit icky. I was very conscious. I was in the mud. And I was like, is this just flinging further mud? Just putting myself more into the situation, and I didn't want to do it. I felt really uncomfortable. Hi, me again. So this is the screenshot you can see on the right hand side here. This is you'll see in a second. When I was actually filming this script, I hadn't grabbed these screenshots yet, which is why I keep having to get myself editing Rachel to come in and talk about this. But you can see on the right hand side there, that's the conversation I was having, and this is the part of the Discord where I was discussing what to do. Should I give it to Beck? Should I give it to a charity? And I I explain here that I feel uncomfortable, and you can see there's a message where I say it feels cleaner to give it to charity. That's what I'm referring to there. It just felt like I was getting
It's cleaner to not go back on your word.
even more entangled by giving the money to Beck. This is before I had gone through the thought process and changed my mind. Just to be really clear, the date is very visible on the screenshot. You can see this is prior to me making the video that I made later.
I don't give a shit about when this happened. What I care about is the fact that you even said this shit to begin with. It's not icky to donate money to someone who needs it. I don't care where you make the fucking money from. Like, if a hooker on the street blew 500 married guys, saw Beck's story, and decided, you know what? 50% of what I just made from blowing these 500 married guys, I'm gonna give it to this chick. That's an icky way of getting money. But you know what? That hooker giving that money to fucking Beck, way more integrity than you.
I told everyone, oh no, I've actually made the decision, and in a minute I'll tell you more about how I came to that decision. And if you look at the bottom of this screenshot here, you can see the last message is me saying I'll think about it, which
no one cares.
I absolutely did go on to do, because obviously I changed my mind. You can also see the timestamp on this screenshot says 7:30, so this is like an hour before the comment about wiping my tears with banknotes, and by the time we got to that part of the conversation, the topic had completely changed and was not about Beck whatsoever. Just to make it very clear to everyone, although these were on the same Discord, the two messages were completely unrelated. I was like, I don't know if Beck's even going to want it. Amber owes Beck the inheritance money, and I think Amber needs to pay Beck back. That was my knee-jerk gut reaction when that all first happened. I was like, this feels a little bit strange to me, okay? But then I reread my community post, I reread all of you guys' comments, and I was like, no, it actually does make sense for me to give this money to Beck. And the reason that it made sense, and this is why I changed my mind, and this is the main reason I changed my mind, I saw this comment, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. If I can find it, I'll put it here. I may not be able to, but somebody said, you mentioned Beck as one of your reasons for offering Emily money in the first place, and that is why you should give it to Beck, because you literally mention Beck in this post. And I was like, you're totally right, I do. In the post, and when I made this initial offer to Emily about the finance video, I say to her, this will be so fucking good because it will help other exes who've been screwed over financially by Amber, because like Beck, for example, who is owed the inheritance money back. So my impetus...
Editing gremlin here. She just used the word impetus. Big word to make her sound smart. Doesn't this remind you of someone? We know that Amber will never give Beck that inheritance back. We know that for a fact. She will never do it. So you saying this will help other DV victims of Amber who have been financially screwed over by Amber, that actually kind of says that you were going to donate the money to them specifically.
For offering Emily this money was so that she would make the finance video with me, send me all of the proof of Amber being a tight ass and all the other stuff, which I never actually got. But the point is that my goal was to kind of help the other exes and be like, guys, look, Beck's not the only one she owes money to. That was my goal, right? So when I read this comment, I was like, oh, yeah, that was what I was trying to do. That was the point of it. And it made me realise, oh yeah, of course I should give the money to Beck. And then Beck also made a further community post where they talk about their surgery and such. And I was like, oh yeah, ding, 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 light bulb moment. It makes complete perfect sense to give this money to Beck. So I changed my mind and I decided, oh yeah.
What's it called when the truth comes to you easier. So if her first intention was to help Amber's victims with these videos, why would she be wishy-washy about giving the money to Beck anyway?
Of course I'll give it to Beck. That makes perfect sense. So in that screenshot that you've seen where I'm saying, oh, it feels kind of icky, I'm not sure about doing that, I don't think I want to, and also I mentioned the tax benefit of it all, that was before I had gone through that thought process. So yeah, there is a screenshot out there of me saying, I don't know if I'm going to give this money to Beck, it feels wrong, because that is how I felt at one point. And so the timing of all of this has been like purposefully twisted by this individual to try and make me look as bad as possible, when actually what happened was not like this at all.
Bitch, you make yourself look bad with all of this shit. I'm doing things, it's fine.
For example, this person's made this comment where they say, Beck shares detailed updates about their devastating medical and financial situation. Rachel blames Beck for making a deal to pay thousands to an active death feeder who's publicly gifting food to dying addicts, and then implies that it'd be icky and unethical, So the timing of what happened there is completely wrong. So Beck made their...
Beck shares detailed updates about their devastating medical and financial situations. Rachel blames Beck for making a deal to pay thousands to active death feeder who is publicly gifting food money to dying food addicts, then implies it'd be icky and unethical to help Beck instead when she reneged on her promise to pay the feeder and said she wouldn't personally benefit from denying Emily her cut. Then says to her peers that she actually wanted a tax write-off from Emily's cut. Cool. Pat Ray, you know what's up.
So the timing of what happened there is completely wrong. So Beck made their community post 5 days ago, and I made those comments in the Discord on the 23rd of October, which was way before Beck had given this update. I also did not blame Beck whatsoever. I said that Beck could benefit from everybody knowing that Amber also abused financially.
I'm gonna leave the stuff that Beck has posted to gift her money to help her through what she's going through in the description. I wanted to come on here and let everyone know how thankful I am for the support I've been given all throughout this year. It's been one of the hardest of my life, and you guys have made sure that I haven't felt alone. I've had so many people tell me that they're thinking of me or praying or shared their own stories similar to mine, and it's been so helpful. My depression was getting so bad after my triple bypass. With everyone's support, along with talking to my doctors, my mental health is doing much better. It's still an uphill battle, and I have a long way to go, but I've gotten through so much this year. It started with my thyroid cancer, the thyroidectomy, and lymph node removal. Then the tumor in my arm getting removed, the heart attack, going into anaphylactic shock during an echo, my CABG, the syncope episode I had soon after, then the infection and multiple surgeries to clean out the incision. You guys were there for me throughout it all, and I can't thank you enough. Yesterday, I saw my surgeon and had my wound vac dressing changed. They took all my stitches out from under the dressing, and I got to see how small the incision is now. It's healing so much better than before. There's just a small hole left. I'll go in at the beginning of next week to have it looked at by the plastic surgeon. They plan on getting a skin graft to finally close it for good. I was really hoping that they'd be able to get my lung nodule biopsy done at the same time, but I've got that scheduled for mid-November, so it looks like it will be 2 separate hospital stays. I'm anxious for answers, but trying to stay hopeful that I'll be okay no matter what it turns out to be. The doctor said I'll be staying home from work until at least the end of November when I've healed from those surgeries. That's pretty scary too. I let my work know and they haven't answered me. I know my FMLA has run out and they wanted me back by now, but it just wasn't possible. I also want to thank everyone who has helped by sending any amount at all to help me through this. It means so much to me and it's kept me from losing my home and helped me pay for medicine I've needed and Ubers back and forth to the surgeon since I've still not been able to drive or walk far. I'll update everyone again when I can and hope you're all having a great spooky season. Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you have fun plans for the night, even if that means staying home to watch something spooky. I know I updated you guys just the other day, but today has been really hard for me and I wanted to talk about it. I got an email today from my job telling me that they're letting me go because my time off was longer than my FMLA. I'm not shocked, but I am disgusted by how little jobs really care about their employees and what they're going through. The email ended by saying that this decision doesn't diminish how much they care or are concerned for my healing. I've been applying for other jobs since my surgery because I saw this coming, but haven't had any callbacks yet. I go back to the hospital in a few days, and I'll talk to them again about what help I qualify for after this change. It's scary, but I'm really trying. Be safe out there tonight and have fun. Today has been really frustrating. I've had a fever for the last few days and I'm dealing with a lot of back pain near my shoulder blades, runny nose with drainage, and coughing. I saw the plastic surgeon today who said my incision looks like it can be closed without a skin graft. So he recommended that I just go back to my heart surgeon for a wound vac change like usual. That's good news. I get to my surgeon's office and they tell me I was released from their care and into the plastic surgeons. So I can't be seen and recommended I go to the ER. I feel a little left hanging because now I'm not sure who will put my wound vac back on or close my incision. I'm here now at the ER and they've done x-rays and blood work so far. The x-rays showed either fluid or some collapse in the lower part of both lungs. So I'm going to be here for a few more hours to do some other scans to find out for sure. I think it'll be a CT scan. Blood work showed red blood cells a little low and white blood cells a little high. Low hemoglobin, hematocrit, mean cell HGB, lymphocyte, and mean cell volume. High RDW, platelet count, eosinophil, that English, I know it, I swear. I don't know what any of it really means, but I think I might be dealing with a respiratory infection or something. I'm just hoping it's not too bad and I can go home soon. Wish me luck. Because, you know what? I actually give a shit about Beck.
Actually another ex, which is absolutely true. But obviously when you lay it out like this, it sounds like that would be really awful if that's what happened, but that's absolutely not what happened. Those comments that you can see me make in the Discord where
Okay, RachelLynn.
I'm not sure what to do were made before Beck made their post on their community tab, just to be really fucking clear about what actually happened here. So I made that decision and I had further conversations in that same Discord where I said, guys, I think this is what I'm going to do. But those screenshots...
This is a 48-minute long video of her deflecting. She has not once said, you know what, I am sorry for the jokes that I made. They were in poor context. I am sorry for disappointing you all with promising to pay Emily. Going forward, I will do my best to not make these same mistakes. She hasn't said anything like that at all. And this is a 48-minute video.
Weren't shown. So it's just kind of funny to me that only bits that make me look really bad have been shown. There was all these
This entire video makes you look bad.
Parts of the Discord where you can see me being like, oh, I don't know what to do. Is this the right thing? I don't want to be a dick. So there was loads of that which never got shown.
So instead of being a dick, you're just a dishonorable wanker. Got it.
Only little bits that make me look really fucking bad were shown. with no fucking context. So anyway, that is what happened there. I discussed it all, and that's what you can see there. It's before I made the decision, and it's me umming and ahhing, and I absolutely did. I totally did. I did not know what to do, but I landed on the right decision in the end. And the comment that I make about the tax break is absolutely true. If I had...
You're on the half right decision. I still say that you should pay Emily what you owe her, because you do owe it to her, and then give the rest of the AdSense from those videos to Beck. Not just the one that you promised half of the AdSense to Emily, but both of the videos. Whatever, you should just give half of the AdSense of the video that you promised to Emily, and all of the rest of the AdSense from those videos to Beck. Because right now, you are being a dishonorable bitch.
Donated that money directly to a domestic violence charity in the UK, not only could I have gift aided the donation, so 25% would be added to it by the UK government, but I could also have written that off on my taxes. I could have deducted that amount from my profit on my tax.
You know what? Also donate the money to that domestic things, because you know what? That is really cool that the UK government will match up to like what you said, 25%? They will match up to that. So you know what? All the AdSense you get from this video, donate it to that charity. I dare you.
Taxes. I absolutely could have, but that doesn't matter. What matters is doing the right thing with the money. But the point is that I absolutely did have that thought process. But as I've said, this was before I made the final decision. So I just think it's important, and I do think it matters, that I decided the right thing in the end. People are allowed to go through a thought process. They're allowed to spitball their ideas and thoughts off the people around them before they come to a decision. That is healthy. What is not healthy is taking screenshots of that conversation, sharing them, and trying to spin a different point of view when you yourself don't know the context and haven't seen the wider conversation. A final point on the Beck stuff as well is that I've reached out to Beck both on Instagram and on YouTube, and they have not replied to me. So I'm a little bit nervous of what to do, because I could just PayPal the money over, but then Beck will just receive this random money and be like, what the hell, unexpectedly. And I don't know if that could have certain problems for them. I don't know if they get any benefits or anything.
I swear to every god of man that if she pulls a stunt where she goes, well, I couldn't get in a hold of Beck, so I just donated the money to charity. Rachel, karma's a bitch, and you don't want to piss her off.
If receiving a chunk of money might be an issue, I guess on PayPal it would be fine. But yeah, Beck has not replied to me, so I am like not sure what to do about that. I'm going to give them the money, don't worry. But the question is like, how? And Beck hasn't even said if they for sure want the money. So if anybody has like a way to contact Beck,
what the hell is that?
That would be awesome if you could get me in there. The money is going to...
Beck has stated numerous times that any help anybody can give her, for them. Honestly, I don't believe in the whole fucking gender ideology bullshit. I really don't. But they have stated numerous times that any help that anybody can give them, they are massively appreciative for. If I had the extra funds, I would be gifting them money every month, but I do not have the extra funds.
Beck, which is the right decision. I stand by that decision. I also stand by the fact that I went through a thought process to come to that decision. And when that money is given to Beck, I will absolutely tell everyone. There is a lot of stuff that still needs to be covered. We've done the Discord, and now we're going to get into some of the other things. So number one is the flirting. Screenshots have been shared that show me saying that I flirted with Emily to get the tea. And I did say that. The screenshots are real, as I've already said. And I think this is kind of funny, and I'm going to just touch on this now. So I wanted the tea. I run a Girl World YouTube channel, so getting receipts and proof about one of the girls is super, super valuable to me. It's valuable monetarily, obviously, because I make profit off the videos. All of that stuff is super valuable. My goal is to analyze the girls the best way I possibly can. So in order to do that, I want to see the proof, and I'm not going to lie about that. I absolutely do. And it is completely true that during my texting with Emily, I was much kinder to her than I might have otherwise been. I was much nicer. I was much more jokey. I sent some winky face. Actually, I don't even know if I sent winky faces, but I definitely was somewhat more amenable to her than I could have been, because I wanted her to feel comfortable with me and give me all of the proof, right? I don't think anybody is going to send somebody else like 150 screenshots, videos, various other stuff without you making them feel comfortable. So I describe that as flirting in the Discord, and I probably stand by that. I definitely did flirt with her a little bit. I don't give a fuck about that. I think flirting so that you can make more money is totally normal. People do it when they're bartenders, burlesque dancers.
But you're not any of those things. And normal journalists don't do that kind of stuff. They don't. That is a bold-faced lie. Now, if you were doing undercover journalism, like where you're actually trying to expose a terrible company or something like that, then yeah, you might flirt a little bit. I mean, those predator stings, they probably flirt a little bit, but they're also on dating apps trying to get these predators to come over. So yeah, they probably flirt in response to initial flirting, but they never go very far with it. You didn't just touch the poo, you smeared it all over your face.
So many different professions, you'll be a bit nicer than you want to be to somebody because you're trying to get ahead in your career. This is one thing that I'm not gonna kind of recant on, because I think that flirting with somebody is literally no big deal. I think that people having a huge problem with me flirting with somebody a tiny bit to get more information is like kind of weird. Like, why do you care who I...
This is giving the lady who sucks off her boss for a promotion.
I flirted with. Now I understand the argument is that she's a death feeder and that's why I shouldn't have flirted with her. If you saw this alleged flirting, you'd be like, oh, because it was literally nothing. I just personally think that it's no big deal. If you feel that it's a huge deal, that's cool. That's your opinion, and you're genuinely within your rights to have that. And
I get the whole pretending to be empathetic and understanding towards, say, a murder suspect in a police interrogation. They need that murder suspect to talk and feel comfortable talking with them. So I understand that kind of stuff. And I understand that with journalists as well, when the other person knows what the journalist is doing. You didn't do that!
I support you having a different opinion from me, right? Because that's what life is all about. I'm not trying to be in an echo chamber, but I just want to say my view on my own actions in that situation is that me flirting with somebody to get more tea is really no big deal, and it happens in a multitude of jobs. And if you think it doesn't, you're objectively wrong. People have said all kinds of wild and hilarious things about me and Emily falling in love. I think
more nothing burgers, but I'm starting to understand why people think girls shouldn't go to college.
I think a lot of that was said in Amber's live, which I'm going to react to probably in my next video, but it's absolutely not true. I have a hard line that I'm not talking about my girlfriend. That is nobody's business. I do not choose to monetize information about my girlfriend or make my girlfriend public, so it is a hard line for me that I will not be discussing my girlfriend, my relationship. But what I will say is that this speculation that
nobody fucking asked
that Emily and I fell in love or anything like that is absolutely laughable. And that is not what happened. But when I react to Amber's live, I think I'll talk more about that then, because I think she's the one who tried to kind of peddle that narrative, so we'll talk about that later. Hello, I had the section where I talk about Beck a bit later in the video, but I've ended up grabbing that section and moving it backwards. So now I talk about my screenshots between myself and Emily, but just to make it clear, there's a little like awkward cut here because I moved the Beck section to be in line with the rest of the money section because the structure of the video made no sense. So now I'm about to start talking about my decision to not give the money to Emily and the discussion that I had with Emily. In this Discord, I shared screenshots of the conversation between myself and Emily where I tell her that I'm not going to be giving her the money. Someone has threatened to share these screenshots and they're getting all high and mighty and excited that they've got these screenshots, so I'm going to show them to you instead, and then that person can talk about them if they want to, just like every other reactor is maybe going to. I personally think it's quite fucking boring. I'm going to show you them and you can do with them what you will. So here they are. I've just realised whilst editing that there are 2 screenshots which I somehow didn't cover in the video, so I'm just going to...
Alright, let's read through these. This has been very hard for me, and I feel like now I don't have your support either. You told me I could trust you. I haven't unfollowed you. I've been following you for over a year. I understand why you feel frustrated, but my worry is that I cannot trust that you won't go back and talk to Amber, because you have done that before and I will look like a total mug for having defended you. I have showed your side of the stories to basically everyone in Gore World, which has worked to your benefit. You threatened to go to reaction channels when you spoke with Amber, and now you've done it. And it has benefited you by getting your proof out, which is what you wanted. I have put my reputation on the line to get the truth out, and because I wanted to support a DV victim. This has always been about getting the truth out there via proof. I'm not on anyone's side. I am on the side of proving what really happened. That's what I've always said. I understand. I know you don't trust my word, but I am not going back to Amber. I'm not sure who is telling you I'm talking to her, but clearly they are trying to stir the pot. I'm putting this entire chapter of my life behind me. I've been hurt by her. Thank you for telling my side of the story. I truly do appreciate it. What? Why is... Okay, that's a weird screenshot. Are you still going through with your word to split the AdSense with me? I'm going to assume you're ghosting me now. Hey, sorry, I thought I was blocked. Voice thingy-majig. She was probably needed her hands for something. No worries. I think you should make a public statement on your own platform to inform people that it wasn't you. I think our communications have skewed my judgment and impartiality towards the situation, and I think it's best we stop speaking. We're just gonna ignore what Rachel's saying. We're just gonna...
This is my reply to that, and then I'll let main video Rachel pick back up. There's this screenshot. This is the first one. I think...
No worries. I think you should make a public... Okay. I think it's best we stop speaking. While I understand that this decision will be disappointing to you, I can't in good faith pay you for the video where I shared your story because I heavily suspect that you had other motives for speaking to me besides getting your story out as a DV victim. Feel I have been a pawn. I'm guessing there's supposed to be an I there. In a bigger game between you and Amber, and that my good intentions have been somewhat used. In light of the recent developments, I know it would be a disappointment to my audience, and I can't be sure confirmation of any payment wouldn't end up getting back to Amber and then used against me. That is the entire point of why she decided not to pay her. And that's fucking bullshit. Because guess what? It all got out anyway. I am pleased we were able to show the proof to the audience, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to make a payment to you. Instead, I will make a donation to a domestic violence charity. I have to safeguard my integrity. Well, your integrity is completely destroyed now. I have to safeguard my integrity with my audience. This is something I am not willing to risk. Thank you for understanding, and I wish you all the best. Then I want the video taken down because it's done nothing but cause me problems. I'm not going to make a statement. I'm not posting anything to social media. I'm being harassed. People are calling my family. Everyone is talking about reporting me now because Hecticana posted about it, and now you're not staying true to your word. Exactly. How would you like if someone did that to you? I feel like I've been used and exploited. Sound fucking familiar? I'm not talking to Amber. This is just your excuse to go back on your word. Unbelievable. Now, through this entire thing, Rachel keeps talking about how she knows for a fact that Emily went back to talking to Amber. Personally, I don't think that she did. And I still stand by the fact that I don't think Emily is as bad as people say that she is. People keep calling her a death feeder. I'm honestly not entirely, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know Emily personally, so I cannot sit here and make that kind of assumption about someone that I do not know at all. Can I sit here and speculate that Amber has a dark triad personality? Yeah, everything that I've observed from her makes me believe that she has a dark triad personality. But I cannot sit here and in good conscience just suddenly start saying, oh, Emily is a death feeder. She is a terrible person. She is evil incarnate. I cannot sit here and say that. But what Rachel has done is more on the level of Amber. So if I was going to rank these from worst to least worst, Emily would be at least worst, Amber would be at worst, and this bitch would be in the middle. And yes, I'm done reacting to her talking because all of this is deflection. She never apologizes for anything. She doesn't even apologize for what she said about fucking the ankle's voice, which his voice is not bad. I actually do not mind his voice. Personally, I think his profile picture fits his voice better than his actual face. But that's probably because I don't watch a whole lot of his videos. I watch the Amber stuff. And he doesn't show his face in those. So when I see it, it's like, ah! So I only have his profile picture. It's like you have a friend who has this huge beard and then all of a sudden they shave it off. And you're like, whoa! What happened? It's kind of that. But back to this. Rachel has used and exploited Emily. She promised Emily a paycheck, and now she's reneging on that paycheck. She is just proving that her word is meaningless. All right, let's go to the next. Unbelievable. You say you're sharing a victim story, then turn around and not believe me after you make money off of me. All while you're worried about your reputation. Come on, Rachel. Exactly. She's sitting here going, I'm not going to pay you because my reputation. All of this comes out anyway. And honestly, this is only proving to me more that Emily is not as bad as people think. Because guess what? Rachel's fucking worse. As stated prior, I feel a similar way. My intention was to share your story, which has been achieved. You receiving a payment from me will have no tangible effect on your complaints above, which I sympathize with. Huh. You know why she probably, jumped on? Because from what I understand, you are the one that stated, that offered the money. She probably jumped on that because she has stated that Amber put her in debt. Getting her back to Oklahoma put her in debt. And those Billie Eilish tickets probably weren't fucking cheap. So she was probably hoping for that money to help her dig out of that debt. And you reneging on that is screwing that over for her. So who's the one with integrity? Honestly, I think it's Emily. The purpose of this was for you to clear up misinformation and share your story, not to make a profit. Which everybody still kept calling her a death feeder. I do believe that she originally went into this wanting to clear up misinformation, share her story, and prove that she isn't a terrible person, because people keep calling her a terrible person. I mean, you basically had Amber calling her a terrible, evil person. And I do believe that she went into this with the hopes of just kind of clearing her name and getting some of this harassment off of her. It's not okay that people are going and harassing her, that people are calling her family, that they are harassing her family. It's not fucking okay. I do not in any way support you being harassed, doxxed, or having your family contact. I have not contributed towards or encouraged this behavior. Yeah, but you keep telling everybody, I don't believe that she is a good person. I am not doing this to defend her. Blah, 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 blah. A donation of half the total AdSense of this video, less 19% for taxes, will be made to a domestic violence charity. I will not benefit financially from this decision. Yes, you will. You're telling her you're gonna get a tax write-off, which benefits you financially. You dumb cunt. Rachel, I need to be very clear. I did not consent for my personal experience to be used for profit or public content without fair compensation. You agreed that there would be payment. Honestly, like, most of that part is her talking about how Emily did not want the money to go to a charity, is basically what she's bullshitting about. You agreed that there would be payment in connection with the video, and I participated in good faith under that understanding. Redirecting that payment elsewhere without my consent does not remove your obligation to compensate me. Exactly. You gave your word that you would pay Emily, and now you're reneging on that. That is my main issue with the entire paying Emily thing. You are the one that made the deal, you agreed to the deal, and now you are backing out of the deal because you don't feel comfortable paying a feeder. Yeah, fucking bullshit. You just don't want her to get any money from this. The video has directly led to harassment and harm, including people contacting my family. It has not been beneficial to telling my story. You just acknowledged that used my story generated AdSense income and that I've asked for it to be taken down. Continuing to keep it public while refusing payment is both unethical and a misuse of my story. Now, she goes on to a whole rant about anybody posting this screenshot specifically without this word blurred out, she's going to be pissed about. Which, she goes on a rant about it, and it's so fucking stupid. It's just more deflection about the fact that she does not keep her word. I'll reply shortly. I'm just about to go into blank and can't reply for a few hours. I'm not ignoring you, and I will send a reply. I'll be waiting for your response. I'll be waiting for your response. Hi, Emily. I have genuinely been considering your request. However, I believe that taking down this video will open you up to further unwanted discussion and speculation. I think it would be best for this money to go to DV victims who will benefit from it. If you still have concerns about the video being public, I'm sure YouTube has processes you can follow. Rest assured, the aforementioned donation will still be made. And you should still fucking pay Emily. You promised to pay her. You should pay her. Half the AdSense from that, like, you should pay her what you owe her. Half the AdSense from that specific video. And then take all the leftover AdSense from that video and the video before it and donate that to Beck. And then the AdSense you make from this video, you should donate to the DV charity. That is the only way that I will think that you are actually trying to correct your wrongs. Rachel, I need to be very clear about how wrong this is. I shared my personal story and details with you under the agreement that I would be compensated. That was part of the understanding from the start, and you assured me multiple times that I would be. I also made it clear that without that agreement, it would not be worth it for me to share something so personal and painful. You went forward, used my story publicly, and then decided after the video was posted to take that agreement back. That is not acceptable. You shared private information about me under a false sense of trust and benefit. This is not about speculation or donations. It's about ethics and respect. You profited from my vulnerability and are now trying to frame it as something else. I'm asking you to take accountability and make this right. You really should, Rachel. And I'm skipping over what Rachel is saying in this part of the video because she constantly drills into, oh, well, Emily doesn't want this money donated to charity. She wants the money. Bitch, if you promised to pay me for something and then reneged on it and went, oh, I'm going to give your paycheck to charity, I would be fucking pissed too. It is clear you are worried about how this might affect your image and reputation if people found out you paid me. But what would actually look worse than agreeing to pay me and then backing out after the video was already posted, all while profiting off of it yourself? Yeah. This looks 10 times worse than even offering to pay her money. This really does, Rachel. I'm not looking to make this public. I have kept everything private and respectful with you, but I trusted you to handle this with honesty and integrity, and you have not. You promised compensation for my time and vulnerability, and you used my story publicly. You can still make this right. You can still make this right quietly and respectfully. Thank you so much for your response. I would like to note that I disagree with your characterization of the timing and nature of the agreement. That is another thing that she keeps harping on about, is we made this agreement and then we changed it. That doesn't fucking matter. You made the agreement to pay Emily and now you are reneging on that agreement. You are in the wrong here. Not Emily. Nevertheless, I appreciate you giving me an understanding of your viewpoint in the above message. Please grant me a period of time to think about the situation and decide which action is most suitable. As I have stated, my fear is that your motivations for getting me to make that video were to express a power play over RachelLynn, with whom I believe you are still in regular contact. I am not comfortable being a pawn in the mind games between the pair of you. Okay, here she goes, I believe you are still in regular contact. She in this video right here, she is constantly going, I know she's still in contact. I know she's still in contact, but she never shows proof that Emily is still in contact with RachelLynn. It's always in this it's I believe. In the video she keeps saying, I know you're still in contact. My issue with that is she's not showing receipts of that, and she's the receipts queen. But where's the receipts for this? I'm not comfortable with being a pawn in the mind games between the pair of you, nor am I comfortable financially compensating you for the same. I would be far more comfortable donating this money to a good cause. I see that this option is not acceptable to you. Money accrued in October 2025 are paid by YouTube in November, so there is no rush for a decision. Thank you for your patience. I will be back in contact in due course. Which
were to express a power play over RachelLynn, with whom I believe you're still...
She's blocked her. You can see it right here. You blocked Provoked, which means she is cutting contact from her because she does not intend to pay her. I don't agree with that. What exactly do you mean by characterization of the timing and nature of the agreement? The agreement was made before the video was uploaded, and you confirmed that more than once. The video would not have gone live without that understanding. Bringing up your own assumptions about my motivations or other people is irrelevant and dismissive. You're basing this off of rumors and no credible sources. everybody keeps bitching about how, oh, she's obviously still in contact with RachelLynn because RachelLynn deleted all of these things. She probably threatened to sue RachelLynn for those lives that Amber made, considering Tammy is suing Amber, which we haven't gotten a whole lot of news on that, but yeah, Amber's own aunt is suing her right now for defamation. You do not need more time to think about what is right. You made an agreement and you have an obligation to honor it. Exactly. You have an obligation and you are refusing. I expect payment as promised or confirmation that the video has been removed. Changing the terms after profiting from my story is not a misunderstanding. It's unethical. I have kept this private out of respect for you, but continuing to deny what was agreed to only damages your own credibility. Yeah. I 100% agree with fucking Emily in this entire exchange. You made an agreement to pay Emily and you are backing out on that agreement. That you are in the wrong. And then she posts that. Okay, she posts a screen. She sends a screenshot. 3 days, 201K. She privated it. That's a lot of fucking money. You are mischaracterizing the agreement to try and make me look worse than I am. We both know you had given consent for that voice note to be shared before any money was confirmed. At the time, I thought I was agreeing to split money on a finance video with you to help you recuperate lost money from Amber never paying you back. It then became clear that there was a misunderstanding, at which point I changed my mind and agreed to split this video, but the consent for the voice note had already been given. Let's leave this here now. The money will still be donated to a domestic violence charity. You agreed to pay Emily and you were backing out on that. That is a you issue. Emily did nothing wrong here. And you are the one who did something wrong. You are the one backing out of an agreement that you made. And you are trying to make yourself look better. This entire fucking part of her talking about this entire thing, from basically this entire chapter right here, is her constantly going, Emily does not want this money to go to a charity. No, Emily wants her paycheck that you promised her. And that's when she fucking blocked her.
Me look worse than I am. We both know you had given consent for that voice note to be shared before any money was confirmed. At the time, I thought I was agreeing to split money on a finance video with you to help you recuperate lost money from Amber never paying you back, which is the reason that I gave her. But actually, it's because I wanted the fucking tea on Amber being a scumbag when it comes to money. And I say it then became clear that there was a misunderstanding, at which point I changed my mind. This is what I send. So I privated the video. Emily wants to go there. I've got proof of Emily wants to go there on a finance video with you to be shared before any money was confirmed. At the time, I thought I was agreeing to split money on a finance video with you to help you recuperate lost money from Amber never paying you back, which is the reason that I gave her. But actually, it's because I wanted the fucking tea on Amber being a scumbag when it comes to money. And I say it confirmed. At the time, I thought I was agreeing to split money on a finance video with you to help you recuperate lost money from Amber never paying you back, which is the reason that I gave her. But actually, it's because I wanted the fucking tea on Amber being a scumbag when it comes to money. And I say it then.
What the fuck? I didn't even catch that the first time. Oh my god, that... You made a false promise for fucking tea? Holy shit. Amber, you lost your fucking crown. Give it to this cunt right here. You did it, Rachel. You did it. You're the queen of fucking Gora World now. Fucking hell.
It became clear that there was a misunderstanding, at which point I changed my mind and agreed to split this video. And if Emily wants to go there, I've got proof of all of that, but I'm not going to put myself on blast for no reason.
You just fucking did. You flat out said you only offered her money to get the tea, and now you're reneging on that. What that fucking tells me is that you made that offer and you made that agreement with no intention of ever honoring it. Fuck you!
That I can prove that if I need to. And then I say, but the consent for the voice note had already been given. Let's leave this here now. The money will still be donated to a domestic violence charity. I then blocked her, and that is the last thing I have ever said.
Yeah, she made that fucking agreement with no intention of ever honoring it. Let that fucking sink in.
To her. So there it is. That's what was said between she and I. If you are angry with me for the things I've said, I understand. That's what happened. That's what I said. It was very clear to me. She wanted the money. She did not want the money to go to charity. It's very clear from those screenshots that that is how she felt at that time. I know that these screenshots are going to be discussed and picked apart by people. That's completely fine. But that's what happened, right? That's my point of view, the context, as the person who was in the conversation and said the things. That's what I was thinking when I said them. Other people are obviously going to give their opinion on it because that's what we do in Girl World, right? And that's completely fine. But that is what was said and why I said it and what happened. And there you go. It's pretty clear that somebody who was in that initial Discord basically was mad at me because I said that I didn't like other content creators or I thought their content wasn't very good. And, you know, we're all allowed opinions, right? That's what the internet's here for. If I think somebody's content is mid and I say it, that's what I said. That's my opinion. And there you go. I'm not going to backtrack on my opinion.
You didn't say someone's content was mid. You said Ankle had a terrible voice. So go fuck yourself.
Just because you guys have all seen me say it, right? I think that this has shown that certain people take Girl World very, very, very personally.
You know what? She just fucking rambles on about bullshit. So basically this is 48 minutes of fucking deflection. So no wonder she's got that many fucking dislikes. And she is hemorrhaging. I mean, just look at her fucking social blade. She is hemorrhaging subscribers right now because of all of this shit. Yeah. She's fucking hemorrhaging things. Let's see.
Thought their content was...
She's fucking hemorrhaging. Let's look at comments. You haven't showed any receipts, girl. Show your journal. Yes, a bartender may flirt with a customer for tips, but they don't share their profiles with said customers, or their profits with said customers. Starting to look more like Emily is the final boss, and she's gonna take everyone down with her. You had to tell a death feeder that you sleep in a different room from your partner just for the sake of your journalism. Oof. The flirting explanation excuse is alarming. The issue with flirting to get information isn't that Emily is a death feeder. The issue is that it is unethical, manipulative, and shady. All qualities you are hypercritical about when it comes to Amber, especially alarming when you take every opportunity to bring up a useless philosophy degree, yet are unable to present a logically sound or ethical argument to save your life. You aren't a bartender or burlesque dancer. Those professions flirt directly with the client and are paid directly by the client. You're a nobody on the internet, inserting yourself into the lives of real people to learn private information about them to expose to strangers online in hopes it makes you money. People don't give a shit who you flirt with. It was the intent and reason behind it. And if you believe that is what people are upset about, you're lacking extreme literacy skills or self-awareness. Your audience isn't the weird one here. That would be you. Exactly. Oh, there's something on there I'm going to show you. I think I replied on this one. No. No, I didn't. I know I replied somewhere that, to be fair, undercover journalists sometimes flirt, but they're undercover. Release the flirting files. So having Emily in your ear made it difficult for you to remain impartial in your content, but you don't think the flirting had anything to do with that. Fascinating. Karina Kaboom had the same info without having to flirt with Kermit. Exactly. I don't think Beck would want the money. Meanwhile, Beck posts a community post every week mentioning how any amount would help them. Quit lying, Pinocchio Rachel. If the flirting wasn't a big deal, then show the messages. The fuck? Come on, girl. Come on. Beck has been giving updates and asking for any help regularly. Point blank, period. Facts! If I close my eyes, it's almost like I'm hearing Amber in a deeper voice. Facts! 1 hour ago, you were being bitchy in Salty's comments, and we're supposed to see this and be like, wow, so sincere. I love Salty Crab. She is awesome. Ah, the pit of shame! The pit of shame! We have the bot date of you leaving. Lying is futile. Bitch, you got shame pinned. But yeah, that is my thoughts on the entire fucking Rachel debacle that is going on. It was actually this person right here that I learned about the whole thing. And is this the one that she did? Okay, yeah, I already watched this on my phone earlier. But yeah, Always Ymir. They're the ones that I actually heard about all this from. So you know what? Go ahead, go give them a like. I do like I'm liking their stuff. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I gave you another perspective. If you want to support my channel, the best way to do that is to check out my books on Amazon. If you have Kindle Unlimited, they're free. You can read all of them for free on Kindle Unlimited. I highly suggest you do that. I write fantasy. If you like fantasy, if you have read the Anita Blake series, my Sacred Beast books were actually inspired by my dissatisfaction of where the Anita Blake series is going. So if you have read the Anita Blake series and are just as dissatisfied with the direction that Laurel K. Hamilton is taking her series, you might actually enjoy those. But I will catch you guys in the next one. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, morning, whatever time it is when you're watching this. And that's it. Bye-bye. When wisdom reigns, the fire burns through shadows to reveal the hidden truth. But pride corrupts the flame to scorch all that the shadows once cradled. The cunning mind holds power, yet only when tempered by humility. Greed devours intent, tainting what could have shone like a star. The mirror shows the path to those brave enough to walk it. But thoughts warped by hubris are fists shattering the glass. You could have been an inspiration, a voice of what's right and true. But the shadow of lies has burned your garden, scorching once fertile earth. Voices rose around you, speaking guidance clear and true. But you cast aside your grace and donned the clown's crown.